Welcome to the WGLNA Season 4 Finals live from Seattle, Washington. I am Joshua Clutch Gray. To my left, Randall Rukel Holcomb. Randall, this is it, the main event finally after a long season. We're going to have the top 4 teams in North America go head-to-head, the winner taking home $50,000.
Absolutely amazing set of matches. We have RBIS versus #RU, a match that we could not have predicted, along with Fnatic versus Simp. I'm completely amazed that we are not seeing them in the finals. Never before have we seen a series like this.
This is going to be an excellent series. 2 teams, one of them a brand new team to the Gold League, another a veteran from the previous season. Let's look at #RU and how they have prepared for the finals.
Compared to the last season, we feel way more confident as a team. We know what we are doing, and we have a goal which we're gonna reach. It's still a moment of excitement going to the finals, meeting all the players, and playing on the professional stage. But we are confident in ourselves, and we are not the team you'd want to underestimate.
We made it to the top 4 already. You know, last season we were top 8 and we lost to Hammer Time in the first battle. And it happened this time that actually we played Hammer Time on the same stage. And this time we won them. But that brings even more boost of confidence. Like I can say for myself, I'm almost sure that it brings a boost of confidence for the whole team, because you know that makes you think that we're on even higher level right now.
We never played in a shootout this season, and we never reached it to Karelia or Sand River, because we kind of changed our approach as well. So it was a great lesson for us from Hammer Time, how you approach the game for not leading it to this situation you want to be. And winning Hammer Time in our series for allowing us going to the finals was really important for us. It was like a revenge. And we didn't even reach it to the shootout or Sand River, which even better for us. We have really, as Godzilla Mode said, a really huge boost of emotional boost, and now we know that we are doing it right, and we increased in our level from the last season.
But I want to mention this time we practiced Sand River once.
We did.
We did.
And it was good. We did pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, that is a difference compared to Season 3. They did practice the shootout map at least once. Yeah. Hopefully it won't come to that, but if it does, I'm sure #RU is more prepared than last time, and they are definitely prepared against their opponents tonight, RBIS.
RBIS is the kind of team, though, that is prepared to play whatever game they need to win. They could take this all the way to that tiebreaker in order to attain victory. They talk about it plenty of times. They're just so flexible like that.
They are. And they had a couple words to say about their flexibility and about their preparation. Let's check in with RBIS about their preparation for the finals.
We are pretty excited to have made it to the finals, but at the same time, we are also resolute, expectant. We know what we came here to do. We know that we are here to prove that we are not just one of the top 8 or top 4 teams, that our matches against Simp were not a fluke. We are here to compete with the best of the best in the esports scene, not just in North America, but beyond. We're gonna, do our best, hopefully come out on top, and we think we've got as good a shot as anybody else.
I'd say the highlight of my career was when we beat Simp. That was when I knew that we were gonna be big shots in the esports scene, and people would actually see us as good players and a good team.
I think beating Simp was basically a question of they made a couple of mistakes that we were able to capitalize on, and for the most part, we just went after it, and we weren't afraid to back down, and we came out on top.
Our team motto is, we play their game. And we will play their game. If a team wants to camp 5 matches, we'll camp 5 matches. If a team wants to rush 5 matches, we'll rush 5 matches. Like I said, we'll do whatever it takes to win, and even if it takes playing their game, we'll play their game.
Yeah, the most important thing about us is we're ready to do anything to anyone. We can bring anything unexpected right off the bat, or we can just play conventional, slow, grindy. We came into the season with not the highest expectations in the world. I don't think anybody had high expectations for us, so to come out there and show people that we can place first will be pretty nice. And I mean, 50K, 5K each buys a lot of textbooks for me. On Saturday, no matter what happens, I think RBIS is going to stay together. Losing isn't even in the playbook, you know, we're just going to go through it. We fully expect to win, and we're just going to come out on top and then enjoy the prize money.
You heard from RBIS. They are almost ready to begin this match against #RU. I like this type of approach, Rukel. I like the words that they have, but it's going to depend on how they play tonight. And no matter what you say, it's in that crucial moment. It's the action that's going to speak louder than words tonight.
Yes, and well, as we heard from Precam, who's incredibly well spoken, it sounds like that they are prepared to play that flexible game. I'm wondering if they're going to be able to play up to the same level that they've practiced for at this live event, and many of them coming their first time, and #RU, their experience. I don't know if it won't affect them similarly, though.
Well, if you were looking at the stats themselves, the higher seed's going to go to RBIS because of their record.
Well, of course.
But you have that card you can put in the deck of #RUs that they've been here before. And they've learned from that mistake last time against Hammer Time of losing in that shootout. They don't want to make the same mistake again. And they have a little bit more to prove in that sense, and especially with the Russian crowd following them to get the win here tonight. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to throw it to Lauren Elise for the face-off for our two team captains. Lauren, take it away.
Thank you, Clutch. This is one of my favorite times. I love these face-offs, and this is the very first one. So I have Godzilla Mode from #RU with me, and I have Precambrian from RBIS. So you guys have been here before, so you kind of understand a little bit of how it is to be in front of a live audience, but do you feel any extra pressure today?
No, there's not much pressure. We're just, hanging out there. We're just having fun. So waiting for the game to start. I'm done.
You guys have not been here before, but you do play very well. How do you think you're going to handle playing in front of a live audience?
Well, I've talked to my guys, and no nerves at all. Everyone's feeling good, excited, ready to go, so we're pumped, and I think we'll do just as well as we always do.
Great. Guys, please tweet at us. Use #WGLNA. And Clutch, what do you think is going to happen during this match?
Wow. I think that RBIS has a couple secrets they haven't showed us yet between these two, between what we've seen in the playoffs and what we've seen now.
So they've got something up their sleeve.
I think they got something up their sleeve.
Okay.
I think they could possibly pull a top-tier level of secrets tonight.
Well, if you look at the order of maps that we're going to have, Ruinberg being the first, I'm seeing possibly a bit of deja vu.
Yes.
Remember #RU versus Hammer Time? When they started the first one off completely just, I maybe afraid, maybe just unwilling to engage.
So yeah, unwilling to engage is almost just feeling out their opponent, finding out what they're going to do. They're going to play hyper-aggressive on this match. It's a big map.
Yes.
Ruinberg is a big map, and it sets the tempo a lot of times for some of these teams. Where are they going to scout? Are they going to go for that Delta Village? Are they going to try to do something crazy with the F Crossroads? And a lot of these teams have played more passive, played more predictable in a sense. But when it comes to this map, I've still been most impressed by Victoria's Secret's approach than any other team, at least in Season 4.
And that approach is what again?
That approach is where Victoria's Secret spawned in the south. They went all the way to the north on the western side of the map. They fired blind fire into the northern section of the map and then left that area. Their enemy thought that they were in the northern section, but at that time, Victoria's Secret moved all the way to the south, moved then to the east, hugging the line, then coming up through the Delta Village, which was unguarded. They got the overmatch and then pushed into the northern section. The reason why I bring up Victoria's Secret is because RBIS and Victoria's Secret were rivals from the Silver League. And now that Victoria's Secret is not here at the finals, obviously, I'm sure they helped RBIS a little bit, at least in some of the tactics, or even just watching some of the VODs of how to deal with some of these teams that have been bringing more foreign tactics to the battlefield.
Well, RBIS certainly probably did their research, and if they did that, they could have figured that strategy out. That's probably just one thing in the playbook. It's risky, though, to take that kind of a play out, especially if your opponent sees it coming. #RU is going to have to be on their toes if RBIS tries to do something sneaky like that, trying to kind of maneuver their opponent for them and force them to react and then set the tempo, set the pace for every single battle. This is the perfect spot to start on Ruinberg.
Cam Dozer, our admin, is handling everything behind the scenes to make sure the players are ready. The map is loading for battle number 1, ladies and gentlemen, of the WGLNA Season 4 Finals between #RU and RBIS. Rootkill, what do we have for tanks?
For tanks, we have 3 AMX 5100s, 2 IS-3s, and 2 T1 Cunninghams for hashtag RU. RBIS will be bringing something similar, 3 5100s and IS-3, 1390, 2 T1 Cunninghams.
Similar, but a little bit of difference in that 1390. We're going to pay extra attention to that. But let's introduce these teams. First up, they're in the blue, spotting to the north. They are RBIS. And spawning to the south in the red, hailing from many regions, but especially North America and Russia, it is hashtag RU.
And for the opening moves, we have hashtag RU taking up something I see a little bit familiar. This is much like what they did against Hammer Time.
The spread right now from RBIS is to the northern section, but yes, against Hammer Time, moving into that southern area and waiting. No active scouting yet from hashtag RU. RBIS has more of a spread so far, but that initial map control can be a strength at the beginning, but if they become too spread out, a potential overmatch can happen if one of these tanks is spotted.
Very potentially. I don't think hashtag RU is going to go on the offensive at the start. They're going to get comfortable. They're going to get used to their opponent, and they're going to figure out what RBIS is going to be doing, what their theme may be for this series.
The Nova Bolt takes a shot, blind fire, through the F crossroads. He's currently at Echo 6. No dice, nothing lands yet. But he is in my most favorite position on this map of this F crossroads.
It's a little dangerous.
It is dangerous. A little bit of danger. I like a little bit of danger when I play some tanks.
Okay.
But I love putting the T-32 in this area, usually spawning from the south, though, with the hold down position. But the IS-3, best tank in space, is an excellent choice as well.
I'd agree. I really prefer an IS-3 for maps like Ruinberg. It's fast enough, it's got the armor, hit points, and 390 average damage is absolutely perfect.
That Alpha Strike, you cannot deny its power. Sella bouncing back and forth here near the bushes, just sliding in behind cover, guarding Unknowable, making sure that he is not caught off guard. And these 5100s used on this map and similar maps can prove to be very effective if they're not spotted initially.
And that's a lot of blind fire going out from Oxmathis, Unknowable, and Sella. That must be going down, I guess, the F crossroads.
It is. It's continually going towards that fountain section. They're thinking that hashtag RU has pushed in that area. That is not the case. Hashtag RU has placed themselves either down the Gulf line or south. And most of them have not even passed the 2 line. They're riding that 1-2 line in the southwestern corner.
Yep.
And they're going to continue to stay that way at least for another minute or two.
Exactly. We see Kazo in the traditional T1 spot, nice raised position where he can kind of watch out down the 1 line. And on top of that, there's a nice little spot right between 2 of these buildings where he can just kind of watch for the perfect approach, because as we've seen in the past, there is pretty much one approach to try and dig out the position of hashtag RU, and that involves taking control of the church. You have to get there from the 3 line, and from there you can make your way around, and there's kind of a blind approach in that sense where you don't have any tanks with a good line of fire. Game is rigged, Godzilla, Diogmani, Valera, and Master Putin all are blind to that position. Now, Toplum does have the ability to spot that, but your opponent is right there around a corner, and there's not much you can do for ranged fire in such a situation.
Oglevold's still going to stay next to the flag cap, making sure there will be no surprises to the northern section of the map. A couple more shots of blind fire coming out of RBIS. Now hitting the 6-minute mark. Hashtag RU has not moved from this spot. Almost taking a page out of Na'Vi, the #1 team in the world from the Global Grand Finals last time. And legit still at full drum for his 5100 Akiyama on the reload. I have a prediction here, Rootkill, that once Akiyama has reloaded his tank, we'll see a change of movement from RBIS close to that 5-minute reset.
It could be a little risky. Maybe they kind of want to pass on Ruinberg. One of those maps they want to get out of the way early. They're okay with it being picked. And because of that, you decide, you know what, I'm going to let hashtag RU draw this one out. They're not coming out to meet us. They're not going to try and take control of the map. they're playing defensive. They're going to wait for us to make a mistake. So if RBIS tries to get aggressive and they make any mistakes whatsoever, then you have a situation where #RU can just take advantage. And that's it. I would prefer not to throw a game away and just take it, because the situation #RU is in, the answer is easy. You just overmatch and you win. In this defensive position, all you have to do is do it at the right time. For RBIS, they have to get into the right position, then they have to figure out the layout, which is at this point predictable, but you can't know that for sure until you're in that situation.
Hawks Mathis unloaded the rest of his clip in his 6-shot 1390, and now he's moving towards the Delta Village. And he has reloaded. 4 minutes and 33 seconds. RBIS still has more map control. The spread, most of the eastern side of the map. One tank still to the south. That has to be the Precambrian or Aquavol. Precambrian is the southern tank for RBIS, and he is scouting out a potential flag cap, but there is no way this one lonely T1 could survive all of the #RU tanks that would spot him initially once he jumped on that flag.
Very easily, Games Rig can cover the position of Toppelin, but if Precam does some blind fire, maybe he could get a hit. We've seen this in the past. Fnatic's done it. We've seen RBIS do it, I believe. You just try and blind fire towards the cap. It's very common to see a T1 in one of the bushes around cap. For usually one of the more popular ones I'll show you guys right now. But, you know, just chilling out, watching one of the bushes topple him, taking kind of that less well-known position.
Game is rigged, still hiding in that keyhole, waiting for that potential tank to poke out and get that initial shot of damage.
Oh, what's happening up in the northwest? I see a light tank moving around.
Well, let's check with
Aquavolt.
Aquavolt. He is cruising around that one line here, and he's going to probably set himself up in the tank of no return, point of no return for the T1.
Oh, okay.
Through that rubble, but he's not fully committing yet. The thing is, 3 minutes and 10 seconds. If there's going to be a push, it's going to have to happen now from either of these teams. Rukil, you talked about how they maybe just want to get this map out of the way, to maybe get the tensions out of their system of playing a game of tanks in front of a live crowd. That's completely understandable. And with Godzilla mode hanging in that position in the keyhole, along with Young Money, Cash Money, no advanced movement coming from #RU, so they could draw this out. 2 minutes, 45 seconds left.
Yeah. I would, if I were RBIS, maybe try and get an understanding of what their opponent was doing this entire time. I guess they have a good indication, seeing as they have control of the one line with the T1, Precam's out in the south, and you've got control of the Delta Village. There's only a few locations your opponent's likely going to take, so RBIS could try and close the gap and maybe go for some free damage here or there, but I think they're just too hesitant to do so, you know? Just don't want to risk it too much.
Yeah, the risk. The higher the stakes, you know, you think, well, no risk, no reward. That's true, but unwanted risk, unnecessary risk, they want to try to eliminate that as much as possible. And in battle number one, it makes sense, almost at the 2 minute mark. But here's where they can make a difference, and that's why we talk about the 3 minute mark, the 250 mark of when it's best to attack, because if the attack goes wrong, you send a T1 away, it stays alive, and it ends in a draw. At least you had the potential to get a win, and a win is better than a draw, obviously. However, not the case this time. Minute and 45 seconds left. If there's a push from either team, it would not be enough time unless we had an ammo rack against one of those IS3s.
That would be a lot of ammo racks.
And every time I mention an ammo rack, well, about 9 times out of 10, it actually happens. So I gotta be careful about mentioning that.
You gotta mention a name with that.
That's true. That's when it actually happens. Let's check in with Aquavolt. Yeah, he's still in that one position trying to slide his tank through this little hole in his T1.
He'll get there. Just gotta give him a second.
Just gotta shimmy. You gotta think thin, Aquavolt. You can make it.
And shoot the ground?
That won't help.
He's gonna think thin. He's getting lighter.
Moving on to Akiyama. Still in the northern village. No tanks to push up against. 1 minute and 3 seconds.
Now this is exactly like what we saw in #RU versus Hammer Time.
Yep.
Both teams saying no. I don't want to.
Not today. Not today on Ruinberg. Not today. Not on Ruinberg on fire. Not regular Ruinberg. Anova still dancing around. He left the F crossroads. Now he's waiting at the flag cap. Both teams are going to recognize this will be a draw. But let's look at the final positioning right here, Rukil. This position from #RU is completely passive, completely defensive. And if a team was to play Ruinberg later in the series, if they were up 2 games, I could see them playing that southern position, making their opponent come to them.
Very possibly. But now it's time for tank dancing. IS3. Young Money's got the groups. He's going for it. And we see lots of shots fired by everyone from RBIS, trying to make as much noise as possible. Young Money giving us a little salute and a wiggle. It's actually a real tactic.
14 gun salute for these different tankers. 7 seconds left before this closes out as a draw. A couple shots firing just over unknowable. 2, 1, and battle number 1 ends in a draw between #RU and RBIS. Between these two teams. No victory pumps yet between these two. I don't think no damage done whatsoever to either side.
No. Although Anomalable was able to waste 12 shells in that one.
Wow.
12 whole shells.
That's quite a lot.
That's impressive.
Very
18
nice.
from Ox, 6 from Legit.
4 from Akiyama. Not even a full shell.
12 from Sela.
The next map will take place in Prokhorovka.
Much more open. I think it's going to be easier for both of these teams to find damage and maybe begin some kind of engagement.
Yeah, I love seeing tank play in Prokhorovka when it was simple tankers. This was their map this season. Unfortunately, they were unable to make it to the finals. And now they have actually been relegated out of the Gold League. Not even relegation. They're out of the Gold League, so they'll fight their way back through qualifiers or through the Silver League again.
Yeah, and if there's a team here today that's going to play that style, I think RBIS right now is the team that could do that up and over, right over the middle. 1390s, T69s, maybe a T32, and just go right at their opponent. Now, this does assume that you know your opponent's opening and that they are going west. If they go east, you could be putting yourself in a weird position.
Now, the biggest thing I love to see on Prokhorovka and a couple other maps is the WZ-132 and how effective the traverse speed can be and the accuracy of this tank on the move compared to the 1390s and being loaded before these 1390s, and how well J-Smooth has used this tank to just get into the fight very, very quickly and to make the enemy team scatter and mess up kind of their initial 2 minutes of what they're going to do in Prokhorovka.
Yeah, but you also take away a little bit of your burst potential. 1390s are just such a potent tank on Prokhorovka, and it's such a key pick because it's a great scout, has great camo, it goes incredibly fast, and the autoloader, even though you have horrible accuracy on the move, if you can make your shots count, you can get in close, you're going to be able to win.
All right, it's time for battle number 2 between these two teams. Rookkill, let's go ahead and detail the tanks.
All right, looks like we have a 5100, T32, T69, 2 1390s, and 2 T1 Cunninghams for #RU. Very interesting lineup. On the other side, RBIS is going to be bringing a T32, T69, 3 1390s, and 2 T1 Cunninghams.
And here we go, jumping on both sides of the map. Both teams have spawn. You see on your screen in the red. Give it up for #RU. And to the north, in the blue, it is RBIS. Ooh, crowd's a little bit louder for RBIS. We shall see.
All right, the opening moves coming out of #RU. Looks like they are going to go to the east. And with that, it looks like RBIS is going west. So we're going to have that polarization we're used to seeing where teams will take either side. The train tracks work as a kind of a funnel, choke point, if you will. And they're going to have long-range fire. T32, Valera Desolator, going to have to stack up against Anomalable. We're going to see who can make their shots count.
This position from #RU, taking the hill. It's not like we haven't seen it before, Rookkill, but it is not the standard for tankers that have spawned to the south.
It's a dangerous position, though. Master Putin can cover the cap. He can also, if he knows the angles well enough and can read the mini-map, fire at some tanks outside of draw distance. And he could get a good hit onto one of those T32s or 1390s spotted somewhere around that bowl in E2, F3.
Still cruising around his cell in that 1390. Nakayama and Unknowable.
Anomalable.
Unknowable.
Nom nom nom.
Nom 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 nom. Here he is in the T32. The nom 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 tank with no cons. And a hold down position potentially for any tanks that are spotted as Precambrian is scouting ahead in the T1. No dice yet for Precambrian. And they're going to hopefully recognize very soon that #RU has placed themselves mostly in the village, and that could lead to an opening for RBIS to go for that flat cap. If they're able to set up a bait and switch by forcing #RU from the hill.
They'd have to really bait them out by some kind of north push maybe, or getting right into about, Foxtrot 6, right next to Valera Desolator, one of those weird angles where the 5100 would have trouble trying to fire on that position. If they can get there, maybe they can do something with it. But it's going to be so difficult. Kazo is in a great position to spot one of the approaches in the south. He's just going to keep peeking up, peeking down. It does look like he was spotted and is taking fire.
Ox Mathis shooting some blind fire towards Kazo. Not scouted yet. He's also firing towards the train tracks into the bushes where potential T1s are. He has unloaded his entire drum, and now he's fallen back going for the reload.
Now,
So look at the split, though. Look at the push coming from #RU.
We've got Godzilla mode kind of moving up into the north. Looks like Godzilla was going to go perhaps for Aquavolt. And it looks like he's going to hold up for a minute to verify that he's safe, good to go. But we could see that common situation where we have a T8 just show up out of nowhere in the north, while Toplum is going to be proxy spotting, and Aqua could get himself picked off.
Aquavolt keeping himself warm next to the Ho fire in this train car. That fire never goes out.
No, burns forever.
Burns forever. Sella from further away, covering Akiyama. A couple shots fired towards the grass. Looks like it was coming from some of the T1s. No, Young Money, Cash Money. And one of his battle buddies, Master Putin, just firing into the dirt. Close to Akiyama, but no dice yet. No damage being done to either side of RBIS and #RU so far.
And we do have tanks on reload. Everyone's just kind of been blind firing here and there. It doesn't look like RBIS has put themselves in positions, though, that are too common. And because of that, they have done a good job of avoiding that blind fire. And unfortunately for them, the return blind fire can't be all that impressive because of the trains. The hard cover, which is controlled by #RU soft cover, being kind of bushes and a few little rolling hills here and there, going to RBIS.
Legit firing once more towards Game is Rigged. Still more blind fire coming out of RBIS. The return fire coming from #RU, though, has been more of answering this blind fire from RBIS and an answer from Ruinberg and also Prokhorovka. Little hey, how you doing coming from #RU.
Yeah.
But Precambria now moving closer to trying to scout more towards the railroad tracks.
And we do have one hit. Game is Rigged peeking out in his T69. And there it is. Godzilla mode peeks up and over and is going to be able to pick up Aquavolt.
And that leaves the northern section without eyes and ears for RBIS. So any type of approach they wanted to bring to the south is going to be stopped because of that. Precambrian is the furthest east for RBIS, and he's not able to scout any tanks yet.
Yeah, I don't think RBIS is going to feel comfortable pushing right now. They've lost Aquavolt. They don't know if someone has gone up and over. They don't know if, a T1 or a 1390 could have gone across the tracks to try and, take a little bit more ground and perhaps push RBIS. However, #RU is going to have trouble leaving the train tracks because of those choke points.
4 minutes, 46 seconds. One of the T1s is still down for RBIS, but no tanks have been destroyed on the side of #RU. Ox Mathis now pushing up towards the north, trying to join the rest of his compatriots, but dancing closer to the road to see if an opening is ready against #RU. It is not, so he'll keep going back and forth with that dance of death, trying to find one of those tanks to fire upon. Now as you get closer here, Rukiel, these teams have not pulled that trigger yet to push. 4 minutes, 13 seconds. Some teams have surprised us in Season 4. One of them, C'est La Vie, when they got the flag cap win against Simp. By distracting Simp on the other side of the map and then going for the flag cap. That was quite the surprise. And if any of these teams watched that, I'm sure they took notes.
Maybe, but #RU's had in such a spread position right now. You have still Master Putin sitting on the hill. Valera Desolator and the T-32 covering all of the south. And it looks like, who's that gone? That's Young Money, along with Kazo, still sitting in the very, very south. So you have great coverage from #RU. And then, of course, RBIS. RBIS is sitting very nicely under in some hold-down position. Oh!
Noble takes down Toplum.
All right.
Nice shot from the T-32. So there's a T1 down, evening up the odds for both teams, taking out those eyes and ears.
And Godzilla was unable to get any real return fire. Didn't even get to zero a shot.
Now, Akiyama and Noble are going to stay. Noble and Akiyama, well, they're not going to push over. I thought they were going to try to push over and go towards the flag cap. They'd leave themselves too exposed.
No.
Let's check in with Sella. He's trying to cover them if they do so, though, in the northern section.
I do like the coverage from RBIS. You have a great crossfire coming in here. Sella has coverage up into about Echo 6. Good angle into there so that someone, if they were to fire from slightly higher ground into about Delta 3, you'd have a reply sitting there waiting. And at the same time, you've got that T-32 and T-69. That's Akiyama and Anomalable. Two of them are in a powerful position to both defend their own cap and potentially regain that position in Echo 3, Foxtrot 3 area, that bowl right in the middle.
2 minutes, 20 seconds. Ox Mathis pushing down to the south. Precambrian still staying in the same position at the center of the map. And Golf 4 heading to Foxtrot 4 up the 4 line. Using those deviations of the hills and valleys to try to stay behind cover. A couple shots fired here. Godzilla mode. Not able to land anything yet. 2 minutes left. There's a time to push. There's about 50 seconds to go. And these teams, they want to make something happen. They're going to have to do it now. And hashtag RU could try to go for that flag cut to the north. But it's so successfully covered by RBIS.
Yeah, RBIS's position is a little bit too strong to assault at this point. They'd have to go all the way to the south, try and go across the K line and take out a T1, then move up the 1 line. That's probably the real only possibility to make an engagement happen. Neither of these teams have chosen strategies which are compatible in a way that will actually make for any fight. One team chose east, one team chose west, and it's a coin flip because you're trying to guess what's my opponent going to do.
Exactly.
If RBIS had chosen to go east, we would have had a very quick fight on our hands, and if hashtag RU had chosen west, we also would have seen a similar situation. But it's just one of those kind of 1 in 4 chance, I'd say, that we see this.
A number of times, surprisingly, and one of the matches that I'm thinking about is Fnatic versus the team that unfortunately got no wins this season.
Kung Fu.
Gong Fu. They both went village at the same time. And we thought, well, this is new. This is something that doesn't happen usually. And that was quite the fight to see Gong Fu, however, is 2 spread out, 2 alone with their tanks, and they got taken out by Fnatic.
Yeah, the understanding how to do an east engagement is just strange, though.
Yes.
Because most of the time it turns out like this. This east-west, hashtag RU, is taking up all the normal positions. And right towards the end, they are starting to really get more active. Young Money starting to do a little bit more active scouting. I think hashtag RU is getting more comfortable. I think that's the situation they're in. There's a lot more motion than there was from the last one.
20 seconds left. Both these teams will end in a draw, and next map will take place at the final placement for RBIS. They still have legit firing into the potential area of hashtag RU, Anomalable, Akiyama, all of them blind firing into the fray.
And actually, they've got a hit on Godzilla mode.
Oh, nice. They got 1 hit, but that's a draw. Not enough to make a difference. And so we go to draw number 2 between these 2 teams, and that's going to turn this into a best of 5. A couple smiles going back and forth from RBIS, knowing that not much action happened in that last battle.
I think they're cheering about the very small victory in that Anomalable got himself 605 damage.
And that's important because the team that does the most damage, if it comes to a tiebreaker, they get to choose whether to attack or defend on the assault map.
Yep, Anomalable was able to get 3 hits, 3 pens out of 16 shells fired. That's the T-32. Consistent fire, just keeps putting them out there. And was able to get that 1 T1 kill as well. Godzilla mode picking up 1 T1 kill. You saw him jump right over and just destroy a little T1 right by the eternal fire of Prokhorovka.
It was nice. He popped up, got the shot bomb back down. It was cool to see in that T-32. And we see legit. First time RBIS has been in front of a live audience to play World of Tanks at a professional level. And they're playing in the semifinal.
And it is a little bit slower strategies than I would have expected from them. They were a little bit more active.
From RBIS, yes. This is slower than what I had predicted. I had predicted hashtag RU to take a couple pages out of Navi's book, out of the Russian book, and play more passive in this series so far. And we've seen that. But if there's a surprise that either of these teams could bring, it's not only the tactics, but the type of tanks that have been chosen. So far, no surprises yet. It's pretty standard picks so far.
But
the 1390 was a little bit different on Ruinberg, but it's not crazy like an IS-6.
Yeah, we could see something like that on Mines, which is going to be the next map.
Yes.
Mines, a map where we've seen hashtag RU when they spawned in the south, head up into the mountains and play those games. But I think North is going to go to hashtag RU for Mines, so they won't be able to play that game. However, they have shown us in the past that there's another way into the hills.
And this is that difference again of the 1390s versus the WZ-132s. Also the sniper fire from an AMX 5100. The hold down positioning of the T-32s. That's a commonality of these teams, the type of tanks that they bring. But it's all about how you perform with those tanks as well. Rukill, let's look at the tank lineup.
All right, looks like we have a T-32, T-69, another one, and two 1390s on the two T1 Cunninghams for #RU. On the other side, RBIS will be bringing two T-32s, a T-69, two 1390s, and two T1 Cunninghams.
All right, as we see on the screen to the north, it's the team in the red. It is #RU as they're cruising to the center. And in the blue from the south, it is RBIS. Legit will be pushing forward first for RBIS. And Young Money Cash Money cruising up to the center of the mines first to overtake that center position. And will shots be fired as they try to approach? No, Legit is not loaded yet.
Not yet. Young Money, though, has the high ground position. And with Ox Mathis going wide, you could see nice cover fire from RBIS from the water side. Young Money's going to respect that possibility and instead decide he's going to start to kind of explore the positions his opponents have taken. Right behind, you do have T-69, T-32 combo watching the entrance to the hill. They're going to protect their little 1390s and let them try and do some work. Right now, Godzilla mode is T1 hunting, and unfortunately for him, he hasn't found anything. Fortunately for RBIS, they've decided that putting their T1s a little elsewhere is a smart call.
Big bounce off the front of Valera Desolator, but he gets hit into the hole from Noble. Sella trying to get another shot against him, but Young Money, Cash Money, and Godzilla mode now finally working together, not getting destroyed in that section of the map. Can try to hold in this section.
Yeah, Valera Desolator, don't think he needs to keep poking as much. We need to see #RU wait for RBIS to get a little bit too aggressive. And while they could start to dominate the hill, Valera is at a disadvantage in that he's taking on two T-32s. Two tanks that do exceptionally well in hold on, and he's only a single T-32. He can't, and with two shots coming his way, he's probably going to lose in the hold down battle. One, because the high ground that Sella and Anomal currently dominate, and second, of course, there's just twice as much damage waiting to happen.
And the dance goes back and forth next to these rocks as #RU leaves that top position. RBIS could overtake if they're unable to scout any of those tanks that were in that section, and this could be a sweep, a reset along the water side.
That would be interesting. I'm not sure that would go exceptionally well for #RU depending on how they play this. If they go too wide, right down the one line with too many tanks, RBIS can very easily respond. But if they play it tight to the 3 line and come around their opponent in about, Gulf 4, then you could see a successful flank from #RU. 1390s are going to be very important in this. We've got Godzilla mode moving out to the west. Behind him, Young Money, and then complement of Master Putin in a T-69.
Ox Mathis now swinging to the center. He was on the water side, and now it's only Aquavolt who can scout what's happening on the west side of the map on the island next to the lighthouse. So it's been a switcheroo almost from RBIS to the south, now in the center.
And is that hill domination coming out of RBIS? No. Looks like we're going to see tanks moving up into the hill. Sella, Anomal, shots fired. Valera is tracked, but I believe his armor should be sufficient to protect him. Aquavolt will go down to Godzilla mode in the meantime. 1390 drive-by, and they will take the one line and the water side.
Big bounce off Akiyama. Another shot fired from Valera, and game is rigged. Trying to get into the side of Anoble. But it's Godzilla mode and Cash Money that move to the south that could prove to be a thorn in the side of RBIS if they stay in that center section.
RBIS has to be careful here. They cannot get over-committed to the positions of the T-32 and T-69 in about Charlie 4. They've taken some hits here. They've taken a little damage. RBIS has the high ground. And now that's some smart play. Ox Mathis in a great position to punish Valera and force him down into a low ground. With this, you can have RBIS move towards the cap and take that control. They can also sweep the east and verify the positions of T1s, maybe take out, that's Kazo out there.
This is where calls are so important for RBIS and #RU. Now, #RU could go for the surround or they could go for the flag cap and try to divide the forces of RBIS, but if they do so, they will recognize that the north will be cut off from help. So Noble and Sella now trying to fight to the south. Sella has taken a little bit of damage, one shot, and he's trying to fire back towards #RU, and a nice shot for Noble to take down Topolium to deny that type of flag capture scenario from the T1.
And now I think Precam may have just spotted Godzilla, and Young Money looks like they backed off a little bit. Young Money might go towards the cap. and make that pressure happen. You might have Godzilla sit and screen, but no, he's actually just waiting and covering his battle buddy. They're going to head further south, actually splitting up even more. It's going to be a very delicate situation for #RU. RBIS has to get the scouting done in order to understand the opponent's position and exploit the current weak position.
Pre-Cambrian is such a crucial tanker right now to be able to scout these two tanks that could push in against that flag cap, because if they do so, it gives the green flag for RBIS to push to the north, get the surround on the heavy tank in that position, and then work their way back south. However, they have to move quickly, because if they get two tanks on that flag cap and that one heavy tank can stand his ground, they could get the flag cap.
Pre-Cam is able to spot Young Money Cash Money. There's one hit spoiling the position for #RU. If they get a little bit more spotting, they could recognize just what an advantage they have. And I'd recommend perhaps a holding position with one tank and then return to base, get Young Money, and get Godzilla mode. What do you think?
Game is rigged. Valera Desolator, I think, are stopping that right now because they're letting themselves still be spotted. But here comes the full tactical push from RBIS. Legit. Waiting for the rest of his friends to turn the corner, and it's going to be the T-32s that are going first, and here comes the push around the corner. As Valera Desolator is going to be seen first. He fires a shot into Sella. Sella trying to push up. He's the one that's most damaged. Game is rigged to stop. He's tracked. They're focusing on Game is rigged first. He's the first to go down. Sella, Legit, now trying to target Valera Desolator. Legit hangs back behind Sella. They get the first two Tier 8 tanks. Sella is low, but the rest, Noble, Ox Mathis, Akiyama, and Legit are pushing towards Master Putin. This is where RBIS has to move fast because those two tanks are now on that flag cap. Godzilla mode, hit for 250. Legit's going to have to get out to the front and focus fire on one of those tanks. Swinging around the corner with 33 seconds left, Legit is in the front, and Master Putin's going to have to hold the line against these tanks.
And he gets one more shell into Legit, but it looks like his turret is broken. He's going to have to repair that, and he needs one more, but that's a track shot he has. There's the kill.
Akiyama fires another big hit, and Noble stops it. 13 seconds left. Ox Mathis is moving as fast as he can to get to that flag cap. 9 more seconds. Godzilla Mo needs to get a track shot to stop Ox Mathis. 5 more seconds for Ox Mathis to hold this. No track shot yet. 2, 1, and base has been captured by #RU. They put a point on the board.
Not bad. Positioning RBIS, making the mistake of overcommitting. I talked about that a second ago. They had an overmatch. Yes, they could have won the fight, but they left their base open. And Precam was not able to defend that. There was a 1390 there, and with that, he knew he was able to spot Precam out. Kazo was brought in, was able to get that 1v1 in the T1. He knew his enemy's position. Precam had not nearly as much information and could not react quite as well, which is why he lost in that fight.
Rookhill, we could see the setup. We could see what was happening of why those tanks to the north were trying to hold that position and to allow themselves to be spotted for so long. Legit from RBIS was up there, holding the line pretty much in the northern section. And once the heavy tank swung around, #RU pulled that trigger for the flag cap. They couldn't win. They couldn't win in a straight 5-on-5. They knew that. That's why they went for the flag and they still got it.
Yeah, they certainly played it very, very well there. It's unpredictable, the positions they were taking. They went around for a bit of a flank, and actually because RBIS wasn't there, that was probably the big thing. They didn't have a presence in the west that was strong enough. They lost it actually and had a T1 go down. And that just left everything wide open. They did not patch that hole.
This is where it gets really dangerous for RBIS because #RU can play that win one, draw the rest type style.
They could, but we are going to see Himmelsdorf as the next map, and depending on the spawn positions, which as I look down, I see that RBIS is going to have the north. So I'd certainly say that denies the northwest camp to #RU, giving them a chance to come back. If they play aggressively and they make the right opening move, there's a good possibility they'll be able to come back in this one.
Possibly. There's Young Money, Cash Money. Get a little bit excited about that win. 10 more seconds left before we jump into the next battle, battle number 4. And since this is a best of 7, but 2 draws have already happened, it turns into a best of 5. And #RU only needs 2 more wins to close out this series. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Battle number 4, Rookhill. What do we have for tanks?
For tanks, I'm looking at 3 AMX 5100s, 2 IS3s, 2 T1 Cunninghams for #RU. On the other side, 3 5100s, 2 IS3s, 2 T1 Cunninghams. It's a mirror matchup from RBIS and #RU.
Chat loves mirror matchups. The first time we're going to see it here in the finals. You see the first team on your screen. It's the red team. It's hashtag RU spawning in the south. They have one win under their belt so far. And in the north, in the blue, it is RBIS.
And there we go. Opening move is going to be west side from RBIS, west side from hashtag RU. There's a good possibility of a two-line engagement, but if hashtag RU can slow it down, they might be able to make their way up the one line without taking too much damage. T1s are going to be very important in this battle. Kazo out on the 8 line at the beginning at Doppler, moving out to the 1 line. Losing one of these T1s is huge. Your ability to control your opponent or at least own parts of the map is pretty much handled by the T1s in this situation. You cannot split your tier 8s too much or else you're just going to get overmatched.
Precambrian moving to the southern position from the 1 line. He's able to spot Toppler first. Potentially, we'll see.
No. Top one was able to avoid that just barely.
Oof.
Ooh, he does make the one mistake of knocking a tree down. And that could reveal his position.
Cambrian's going to hug the wall for a bit. Checking in with Aquavolt. In that T1 next to the window here, next to the keyhole position. RBIS, them playing defensive is not going to work at all on any map whatsoever.
But they can try and wait a moment to make sure their opponent is not going to try anything tricky. Follow up a win with a blitz. That's a good way to catch your opponent off guard, especially when they expect you to kind of sit back on that win and make your opponent push.
Well, Aquavolt now moving from his position, going towards the east of the map. A lot of pinging happening from RBIS. I believe a lot of it is to scout if there's any movement on the hill from hashtag RU. And Aquavolt's about to find out.
It'll take him just a minute. I don't think he'll get a lot out of that. In the meantime, RBIS seems to have shifted slightly closer to the cap. What is it looking like they're prepared to do there?
Well, I'm going to take a look at Cell and Legit's position. We hang back here. You'll also see a number of other tanks right behind him. That's Akiyama. They're staying close together. And Unknoble has now moved from the western side. Now, Precambrian's going to stay. It's a great position for him to be in order to scout that push from hashtag RU, which could be a possibility. But 7 minutes and 39 seconds. If a reset needs to happen, it's going to be from RBIS, and it's going to be them cruising towards the hillside. And if they overtake that hillside, it could lead to an opening approach if there is an overzealous engagement or push from hashtag RU, either on the western side or down the tank alley.
Very possibly. Now we've got a reaction in a way, or at least a timing. About 7 minutes left in the battle. Both teams have decided to shift position, new openings, new strategies. And it looks like they're preparing for a hill engagement, some kind of push from that direction as they've established that their opponent is not currently moving down the 1, 2, or 3 line. I guess they're going to, maybe if they're going to attack, they're going to come from the east, not from the north. And they're going to set up for that. Game is rigged to Valera, both getting into solid positions to defend and perhaps react. They can go north or south however they want, however they need. Godzilla mode also in a strong hold down position in his IS-3. He can go back and look at cap. He can also get the first shot and have great cover. Not perfect, but great. Young Money is also equally as flexible. This is just a great position to roll out from. You've got north, south, east, west, every which direction that you are very well prepared to defend your own cap as hashtag RU.
Aquavolt springing ahead in his T1, not scouting anything on the hill itself. And no tanks being spotted is still crucial information for a team to gather to know by deduction where their enemy team will be. And as Aquavolt's going to continue to press forward, a little bit of a sacrifice potentially if any tanks are going to play defensive, but none will do so. Kaz, however, moving into a spot. This is a smart play from hashtag RU. The suggestion of we haven't spotted them yet, guys, anywhere on the west except perhaps Precambrian. They must be taking the hillside. Let's check it out. Aquavolt going back to the safety of the heavy tanks. A lot of pinging happening on the map from RBIS.
Well, we'll see if they're going to be able to push forward or maybe decide this isn't a very good idea. High ground fire. As they are going to move out, is anyone actually watching that position? That's the big question. Master Putin, no. Doesn't look like anyone from hashtag RU is going to be able to fire onto any of those exposed hill positions. They're all hiding from exactly where RBIS is looking to fire.
No dice. 5 minutes and 20 seconds. At least RBIS is working as a team, looking for windows of opportunity to get initial damage against hashtag RU, but hashtag RU is not allowing that to happen whatsoever.
Well, we could see something develop in just a moment. Aquavolt moving so close to Kazo, and that looks like a proxy right there as they're both going to wiggle around their T1s. and that could have Sella and Legit maybe move around and pick up a T1. No, they're not. Kazo's going to be able to get away.
Well, Aquavolt's going to continue to head towards the enemy encampment with 4 minutes and 45 seconds. Plenty of time for engagement to happen for either team. But as we move closer to this best of 7, this is another draw. This puts #RU another game closer to a victory and moving on to the finals.
Although it does make it easier in some ways, you could say, for RBIS to come back. They can tie this one up, just one win, if they feel like they have more damage in the series, or, you know, just come back in 2.
Yep.
You don't have a chance for your opponent to.
Akiyama moving closer to the edge along with Legit and Sella. If they're going to pull that trigger, it's going to have to be within the next minute. And let's check in with Enoble and Oxmathis, the battle buddies right now, down Tank Alley.
It looks like they're getting ready to pinch on the position of about Golf 7.
And the
T1
5100s are going. Aquavolt taking a little bit of damage.
25 in the first little volley from Kazo as he's able to escape into cover. Sella, Legit, and Aki are coming to back him up, but Kazo might not know that in time, especially if he reloads. I think he's going to hold on to those shells, actually.
Oxmathis pokes around the corner, sees no tanks left, no tanks right. Enoble ready to share HP. Now they both cross the chasm. 5100s waiting for the right time. Kazo potentially scouting them. #RU not moving yet.
Well, that T1's going to go down one way or another, and it seems like an incredible amount of maneuvering just to get that single little T1, just showing you how much these teams respect the potential of what a T1 can accomplish. Aquavolt's getting a little closer. Oxmathis sees Kazo, and there it
Gets
is.
the shot and the kill. He's going to pull back. Aquavolt still up front trying to scout. Now #RU is going to move towards their flag cap. They know they are in danger. A shot fired, and I believe that was a track shot. Aquavolt still alive, Legit crossing through, and he's going to be able to guard Aquavolt on the flag cap. The trigger has been pulled. Legit gets hit for 346. Another volley. A little bit of a bounce shot. Valera Desolator needs to be targeted. Oxmathis and Enoble trying to get around. Sella very, very low. Going to try to block for Legit and get these 2 tanks. Now 3 tanks on the flag cap, but Sella falls.
And Game is Rigged has gone down. He caught fire. Now Valera, with not a whole lot left, is going to have to take on 2 tanks as Young Money will have to stop the cap. 19 seconds left.
Reset happened at 26, 25. Akiyama pulling back a little bit. He has to reload. Still trying to engage against these tanks. Still trying to be a target for these tanks. But Young Money, Cash Money, going for the ram, going for the shot, gets the kill. Resets. Aquavolt on his own. Not dead yet. Akiyama trying to block for him. Akiyama takes a shot from long range from Godzilla mode. Akiyama tries to block. Young Money, Cash Money does not land the shot. 13 seconds left. Akiyama using everything he can. He falls from the crash from Young Money, Cash Money. Oxmathis trying to get in there in time, but Young Money stops it. 40 seconds left. Young Money 1 shot away. He falls to Oxmathis. Toplam's about to go down. Godzilla mode, last tier 8 left alive. 1:29. Oxmathis and Enoble trying to get this kill. Also 2 T1s from up top. Cambrian gets the win up top against a T1. 30 seconds left. A reset. And there he goes. I can't believe it. RBIS does it. They tie it up 1-1.
All right, nice play and interesting defense from #RU. They were set up to be so flexible, but unfortunately, I think a fire really offset that fight, and a few and good damage spread, I think, by RBIS.
That was big. The reason I can't believe it, Rookhill, is that I thought, oh no, they're going for the flag. They could definitely get this if they keep their 50s alive, the 5100s. The 5100s were the first tanks to fall. And 9 times out of 10, if that happens, your damage is shot down. But they kept the 5100s alive enough to distract #RU, and that allowed their IS-3s to get the damage they needed. That was big for RBIS. They were able to break through the defense of the #RU, and that means this is still anybody's game with that time.
Good job focusing out the right tanks, forcing Young Money onto the cap where he had to just expose himself to so much fire and so much close quarters pressure that the single shots that missed. There was also good play by, I believe that was Akiyama in the 5100, blocking a shell with his gun.
Perfect.
Good understanding of game mechanics.
perfect blockage from those 5100s, and they were so low on HP, right? You think, what can I do? Keep my teammate alive, keep the danger away from the victory that we can get. And that was just really, really good heads-up play. With #RU, their focus fire suffered, I feel. They were making the right decisions fundamentally to destroy the 5100s first, but it was leaving them a little bit too open to the IS-3s that, after a while, caught up with the damage.
Yeah, I think that one track shot that did not catch the T1.
Yes, that was huge.
Yeah, Aquavolt being able to make his way across was huge for him.
Power of Aquavolt.
Yes.
The power of Aquavolt, folks.
That if they would have killed the T1, that probably would have been a completely different game. You have a situation where the T1 can't get the kill. Now, we are about to go into our next map that will be Cliff.
It will be Cliff. This is battle number 5 between these two teams. Tied up. Now becomes a best of 3. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. On Cliff. Rukill, what do we have for tanks?
We got 5 1390s and 2 T1 Cunninghams for #RU. Other side, RBIS. Spawning in the south is going to have 2 T69s, 3 1390s, and 2 T1 Cunninghams. That's mobility.
That is mobility indeed. The difference of those T69s, the finisher tanks, they can load faster. They don't have as many shots, though. Their armor a little bit better than the 1390s.
Yeah,
1390s more mobility, though.
You get some troll bounces there with the front slope, and sometimes with the turret. However, it doesn't perform as well in hull down as other American tanks like the Pershing and the T-32.
To the north, #RU in the red. To the south, RBIS in the blue.
We're going to see RBIS playing the same strat they did against Sim. Everybody right up the 2 line. And they're going to make it an east-west game.
Mathis, the one up front. Followed by Legit and a Noble.
Oh, wow. Looks like prediction from #RU. They recognize this strategy. They've studied their opponent, and now eyes are to the west. Godzilla looking towards the position held by Mathis. Does he spot him, though, is the big question. I don't think he did. And he's going to have to back off. Now the big question here is, will #RU close the distance, or will they get into standoff cover positions with their 1390s, perhaps taking the lighthouse and the high ground? There's the answer. High ground.
Selling a Noble. Not coming yet around the corner. Kazo's hanging way, way far back, guarding the flag cap.
You gotta have someone to watch it, and that's a solid T1 position to take. You have a few bushes you can hide in. You've got a good view.
Game is rigged. Hit for 197. A shot from Sella in the T69.
Game is rigged, peeking out a little bit too much, and that will prompt a response from Godzilla mode, actually, who's... we're gonna see this game again. Okay. We're gonna see a little bit of mountain goating. Something that #RU is pretty well known for.
Yes,
and
indeed.
Godzilla mode knows the coverage of his allies, and he's just gonna keep going for this, I think. Gonna run on back, get that downhill, and he's gonna get on top with this. Actually, wait, #RU did this exact same thing as well during the playoffs.
Try to make it up there. But that could leave them a little bit vulnerable if they're able to overmatch with all the other tanks down below.
Yeah.
And that's why it is a bit of a tricky play. He's able to get up there.
There we go.
Right on Godzilla mode. He's up top.
And now you're going to see how to do a little bit of map cleverness, guys. Pay attention, everyone out there.
Come on, you can make it, Godzilla.
Oh, he can make it. It's all about the
It's
angle.
a little engine. That could. Right on. He's going to continue to climb on. RBIS still going to stay next to the donut on the 2-3 line. The 1 line is going to be taken by Brucambrian here. He's going to scout to the north.
Okay, and now Godzilla is in a beautiful position to just exploit all of this. Looks towards Mathis. I think he got spotted. Looks like RBIS is a little confused.
A Noble knows that he is spotted, and he hangs back close.
Oh, looks like pre-cam's lit. Godzilla looking for the shot.
Fires. Does not land the hit. Godzilla mode waits. Will not fire again. A Noble still hanging next to that position to scout Godzilla mode. And no other movements really from RBIS. They're just hugging that donut. That's the name we call this rock here, this placement on the 2-3-4 line.
It's because it's delicious.
It is. Sella. From further behind, he can act as that sweeper in the rear in that T69 as a finisher tank. 6 minutes, 30 seconds. Bit of a standstill from both teams. Currently tied up 1-1 in this best of 7, the first semifinals of the night. And Aquavolt and Ox Mathis are going to hang back.
Looks like they're going to get into the low ground. Interesting plan. I guess they're going to try and sweep the north, try and find that T1 position that they know is there. Precam was lit, shots went out towards him. There's a T1 in that area, or at least a 1390 watching somewhere. So you might as well bring Precam in to perhaps counter out that position.
Well, you look at the avenue Ox Mathis can take towards that flag cap. Is open, but not safe. I mean, he can get there at least another 2/3 of the way, but Game is Rigged is hanging back, ready to fire. Master Putin Valera. Oh, Ox Mathis landing a shot against Godzilla Mode on top of that mountain, and he falls back behind the house.
Nice positioning. Didn't realize that he was going to actually go up that high, which, of course, the higher you go, the more you are kind of exposed in a way. There isn't really any great cover on top. It's just kind of just so flat and exposed. Actually, it kind of curves a little bit in such a way.
It was just the side of the tank.
Yeah.
Barely visible to Ox Mathis, but he got the shot. He's going to go for the reload. Aquavolt's going to change positions. It looks like a setup could happen here from RBIS to go for the flag cap while they engage in the center. And this is important too, the movement of Ox Mathis, because #RU could have thought to themselves, wait, he's all the way up north, guard the north, they're not in the center, they can't push in the center, or let's push in the center because we can get the overmatch. But #RU is not going for the center, they're going for the south. They want to get on that flag cap.
You moving Top Limb, Young Money, and Master Putin all into that area. I guess they're going to try and use the high ground cover from Godzilla Mode to prevent them from spreading out too much or getting into the proper positions to block their cap. With that, you could have a fast cap coming out. And actually, we could see a bit of a base trade happening because of the positions held by #U in the south, and then you'll have contest in the north with Aquavolt and Precamp. They could go for it. Game is Rigged, though, is there to kind of defend against this, and we could see a draw very easily because #U is able to hide their tanks. RBIS unable to get enough kills in enough time because maybe they overmatched too hard, but if they can roll out and kind of split the group into maybe group of 3, group of 2, they could get this one, especially if they can just 1v1 very well and just outskill individually.
Akiyama and Legit hanging back, still waiting for the right time to push. You look at this lineup, these tankers are ready to go. Legit, Akiyama, Noble, and Sella around the other corner. Now, if they did push, the first target they could see is Valera from up top. Godzilla Mode could sweep in from behind by that 1390. The Young Money, Cash Money, Master Putin could set this up again like we saw on Mines to go on that flag cap. And that brings us back to RBIS. If they decide to push down that center line, they have to be conscious of this. 3 minutes and 21 seconds.
And now we've got Toplan moving into a very sneaky position. He's actually in the enemy cap. And I guess it's a little tank drifting for you.
Yeah. A little bit of a slip and a little bit of a slide from top of him.
Yep. Now he's going to actually be able to spot an opposite angle, and there's nice visual coverage from Godzilla Mode and Toplam. The two of them able to see most approaches pretty well, complemented by the fact that we've got Master Putin here. And with that, Young Money, Cash Money to kind of bring in a little bit of cover as well.
Triggers being pulled up top. Precambrian and Aqua. Precambrian on the flag cap. Dodges a huge shot. 240 left on the clock. Dodges another shot. The King of Jukes. Precambrian. 2 shots for Valera Desolator. That's enough for him to reload now if he's going to. Another missed shot. Precambrian is dodging everything. Ox Mathis takes a hit, but Precambrian falls.
That was the last shell in his clip. He's going to be on reload, and Aqua goes down as well.
Kazo, the master of the T1, has outcrewed tanks in the past, is able to get that kill. And now RBIS is on the chase to get to the south as fast as they can. This is that trigger that #RU wanted. Noble, the only tank that can stop him, needs to get the reset as fast as possible as the tanks are fighting in the center. Godzilla Mode and Young Money, Cash Money are fighting. They take down Sella. Noble trying to get there in time, pushing closer against these two tanks with 13 seconds left on the board. Noble pushing up, trying to get the hit. Valera Desolator takes down Akiyama. He gets the reset for a minute, but will he hold against Master Putin and Toplam? He needs to try to get the T1. He fires again.
T1 gets off cap. Toplam has gotten off cap, resetting everything.
Master Putin could get the kill. He does. Noble falls. 2 tanks left alive for RBIS with 1 minute and 30 seconds left. Legit on the reload along with Ox Mathis, and they are on the run. 37 seconds left for hashtag RU to get that flag cap. Mathis is going to have to go for ram damage, and if they can track him, this will be huge. Oh, now jumping off the flag. It looks like the tankers are trying to get ready to stop. Those tanks moving towards him, legit, pushing up. He sees the T1. He wants the kill. He fires and gets it.
Nice.
Master Putin from a distance. Great shot by legit.
That was incredibly thin. He had to make it right over the front, right over the top, right in there. That's an amazing shot. Now Master Putin is kind of pinned, and legit's going to close on in.
One shot from Young Money. Can he get it around the corner? Can't get the last shot. Mathis able to dodge. 47 seconds left. RBIS could still stay alive and get the draw. Legit is in trouble. One more shot, he goes down. 40 seconds left.
Mathis, he has to play for the draw in this situation. He has to only survive. I mean, even Kazo. And he's looking to go for it.
And Mathis fires blindly towards Kazo. Kazo could try to get this win.
Gotta stay calm, gotta stay cool-headed, and I think he's getting a little bit flustered here.
20 seconds left for hashtag RU to seal the deal. They get it. Young Money, Cash Money with the kill. Hashtag RU puts another point on the board, and they are one battle away from moving on to the finals.
All right, now we're in a real back-and-forth situation. Mine's going in favor of hashtag RU. RBIS taking Himmelsdorf, and now Cliff going back into the favor of hashtag RU. Good positional play, I think, is what really won Cliff for them. They had tanks in positions that just were unexpected in ways. Things that I would usually have said maybe about RBIS, but that hashtag RU has done in the past. They've gone into, in the mines when they had south side positions. They would take the high ground here on Cliff. Now that there's been some alterations to it, their entire strategy is very solid. I like it. It's east side play that we haven't seen before, exploiting the avenues that are very often left unattended.
I really like talking about the avenues being unattended. That's the flag cap in so many scenarios where they make the battle about the flag cap rather than trying to overmatch them in the center, rather than trying to see who can do the most damage in the first little skirmish and then move away. It's focusing that flag cap battle. And there we see Precambrian, the team leader of RBIS, a little bit disappointed, a little bit flustered.
No, it looks like a good discussion might be going on right now. I don't see too much like he's really down or anything. Maybe they're just trying to figure out what went wrong.
Not down, trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I can understand that type of frustration because they had a good battle in the center, but it fell apart. It fell apart. And there's Young Money, Cash Money. Look at the difference right now. He was up top. He was able to scout what was happening from RBIS. And he had some bad luck this season a number of times, especially on mines.
Yes.
And now it's starting to swing into his favor.
And he's doing so very well. Like you're talking about, he last battle 1,800 damage with 8 for 9 and 2 kills to back that one up. Master Putin and Valera right behind him. Now, legit, we talked about this in the pregame show. A player we've really kind of ignored as far as his performance all regular season. He was the top damage dealer for RBIS last battle. Even though they lost on Cliff, he was the top damage dealer, even picking up 3 kills.
There's Aquavolt. Still doing work in that T1.
All right, there's the call being made, I think so.
And there's Sella along with Anabo, Akiyama, and Legit. This is it, folks. Battle number 6, possibly the last battle of hashtag RU, is able to get this win. It will take place on Abbey. Rookhill, what do we have for tanks?
Tanks, we have 2 AMX 5100s, an IS-3, T69, 1390, and 2 T1 Cunninghams for hashtag RU. RBIS will be bringing 2 5100s, 2 IS-3s, 1390, and 2 T1 Cunninghams.
The difference is at T69. As we see on the screen right now, RBIS is spawning to the north in the blue, to the south in the red. It is hashtag RU. And this is a map where momentum can swing into the other direction. This is a large map with limited avenues of approach. If a draw happens here, it can still go into a potential tiebreak if RBIS gets the next win. If hashtag RU gets this win, it's over. They move on to the finals.
Yeah. This is, I think, exactly the map that hashtag RU wants. They can take the southwest defensive position, just put up some stakes, and make it happen. RBIS is forced to attack in this situation.
And it was hashtag RU that got to choose this side of the south on Abbey.
It's a smart choice. They recognized that there was the potential for them to be able to slow down the match and perhaps bring another draw into the situation or just have the defender's advantage. Of course, we've seen in the past teams being able to exploit the cap in the south.
Precambrian. Able to dodge a little bit of blind fire here. Aquavolt close to the flag cap. Chilling in that position.
Safety, a little bit of a safety net there with a T1. Not a good escape route, though. He has to cross a lot of open ground in order to get to a safe position that can be covered by his allies. Very likely that T1 will go down as kind of a tripwire.
The legit Precambrian are moving a little bit here. Let's follow up with legit in the 5100. And selling the IS-3s, poking around the corner. These two teams could go head-to-head any minute, any moment. If their T1s move first to get a little bit of the scouting, they recognize, uh-oh, there's the enemy. Stay in this one position, or we have to be careful, because if they know we're here, they could swing into another area. From west to east, from west to center. But #RU has one of their T1s in the center of the map.
They do. That is Kazo. And his position is more about proxy spotting. As we saw early in the game, he was trying to climb up, and it's not too hard. It's right up there, through the bushes, and you're up into a good proxy position in a T1, or really any tank that's small enough to fit in there. Kazo is just going to be watching the entrance to the Abbey itself, which will be useful for proxy spotting any attempts to go for the cap, because that Abbey is crucial to being able to cover the approach. And with that, it's a safe place to put a T1 to just draw if you're forced to. If he stays there all map and it's going to go to a draw, fight happens, and cap is impossible, who knows to even find Kazo there? No one.
Nobody.
It's the last position you would look. RBIS would have had to know #RU's normal southern strat exactly, which they very possibly do, but they might not know if there's been any changes made. #RU could have thrown that T1 anywhere on the map.
You see the stats of Akiyama. Cool guy, important player for RBIS. A lot of times, I think this may be the first time a lot of these RBIS individuals have met each other in person for the first time.
Yeah, I've known their names for a while, especially Akiyama, a player that I was recognized on Twitch a lot.
Yep.
Just a user on a lot of streams that I was also on. And finally getting to see him playing in the Pro League was nice. Of course, Sella also being a very popular streamer.
Yes. Ox Mathis further south. Could potentially see Young Money, Cash Money, and hang back. He's going to join the rest of his team, or he could have tried to cross through the water, but
he's trying to get that angle.
Yeah.
Just get his gun a little bit over a few buildings here and there and see if he can pick something up. Is he actually going to be able to find a shot on Kazo?
I don't think so.
There's a very, very thin little position that you could actually... Wait, could he get a shot? No, he could. There's a way to actually, I think, fire on...
Yes, that is a very, very tight spot, though.
It's possible.
It is possible. All right, Kazo. Going to stay in that position while Akiyama, Noble, and Sella, along with Ox Mathis, are going to move towards the north. 5 minutes, 28 seconds. RBIS knows they have to get a win here, at least, not to bring it to potential tiebreaker. The best they can do if this is a draw is take us to the tiebreaker if they win the next map, which the next map will be Steps.
I don't feel confident for RBIS to take to a tiebreaker on Steps. They need to work it here. Steps is a good map for #RU.
Yep. Legit cruising up towards the corner along with Akiyama. RBIS still playing it slow in the north, but this is their game to make the move. The ball's in their court.
Actually, let's take a look at the position of #RU and kind of break it down real quick.
Sure.
So Godzilla mode is going to be in a 1390, which is a bit of an odd tank to bring for such a defensive position, but you need it, for example, if you absolutely have to get behind your own cap, you feel like your opponent is pushed and you need to chase something down, a little T1 hunting, and also amazing camo in the 1390, along with some nice view range, especially when you have coated optics on that thing. On the cap itself, or at least the cap area, we've got Topolim. Topolim has a small blind spot with some trees, but he can see the more common and safe approach to get onto the cap. Without him, RBIS could actually go for a fast cap and succeed potentially. But with him there, he is going to be able to stop the cap, pepper some T1s if it gets too close, or just stay as a constant tank that is going to communicate the positions of his enemy. Next, I'll jump over to Young Money Cash Money, IS3, who is, as we saw early in the game, in a position to fire right up the 1-2 line, and he did so, unable to get any connections, but not bad. And then, of course, 5100s, Valera, and Master Putin. High ground position, very common for 5100s to take. This is a difficult to attack position.
It is. It's
Come
so
around
strong.
the corner, you're walking into two 5100s and an IS3 potentially. You could jump onto Young Money Cash Money in that position, but you're not going to succeed. You're going to take damage just to begin the engagement. So there's a little tax right there. Pay the toll. And he's going to be able to deal a little bit of damage and take plenty as well. With legit Nakayama going in, those autoloaders are going to waste perhaps 1 or 2 shells between the two of them on the armor of an IS-3. One of the few tanks in Tier 8 that's actually going to reliably bounce 1 or 2 in 6.
We have reached that point where an engagement has to happen in order for a draw not to be a possibility by being able to chase those T1s, especially on this map, on Abbey. Noble and Akiyama have not pushed past this corner, except Noble fires a shot towards Young Money Cash Money.
Nothing.
Does not connect.
He wasn't even phased.
Noble ready for another shot, fires again, goes into the dirt.
Okay, well, I don't think RBIS is going to be in really a position to win this one at this point. They're going to have to take this to the tiebreaker. There's the only way they're going to do it, and they're going to have to do it in the next battle. Oh, that shot did go over Young Money Cash Money. Still not phased.
2 minutes, 6 seconds.
He's just waiting for the perfect shot, I guess.
The audience can hear a lot of #RU yelling out commands. Shot fired from Young Money Cash Money. No connection. 1:49.
Yeah, a little blind fire going back and forth. I'm not even sure these guys can see each other.
I don't think they can.
Well,
1:39. Checking in with Sella, who's just right next to him.
looks like Young Money Cash Money has decided forward is the best direction, and we'll begin. I guess #RU is going to go for last minute damage.
Last minute damage. This is important for #RU. In case a tie does happen, they can get the choice if they do more damage. And so far, that's true because they have 2 wins. They're going to push towards the front. It will be just Young Money Cash Money, and then the rest will fade towards the northern approach. Yes, that's true. Master Putin takes a shot for 408 from Sella, and the isolation of the tank up north could be in the advantage of #RU. If Young Money Cash Money can't push in. He gets a shot, does not land, Sella falls back. And Akiyama fires again towards Young Money. No dice.
Looks like it was a bit of a track shot absorbed there, and maybe a little track damage from up above. We could have more pushing in. Young Money is going to just start taking hits to distract these tanks as the autoloaders are going to move in on Sella.
Sella fires against Game is Rigged. Young Money takes a shot to the side, and Akiyama Nova will take 2 hits. 2 big hits against Akiyama. He's almost down, so close. 13:45 in that volley. Young Money Cash Money wants to close the deal, but Akiyama's going to fall back. Noble, he's going to push forward, and he takes a hit for 200, but they get the kill against Master Putin. Oxmathis legit trying to push forward. Young Money Cash Money bounces a shot. Valera Desolator takes down Oxmathis with 20 seconds left to go. Valera Desolator trying to focus another hit against Sella, but Young Money Cash Money seals the deal. Valera tries to fall back as Legit is going to be blocked by Game is Rigged. A big bounce off the front of Legit. Young Money Cash Money still wants that kill against that AMX 5100. Legit going to have to run away. Young Money gets tracked. Can he get the shot against Akiyama? He does at the last second. Beautiful play from #RU. That's going to take us to a draw, and that is a great position for #RU to be, not for RBIS. Even if they do get the win next time, Rukil, take a look at that damage.
Yeah, we've got Sella picking up 1,500 in his IS-3, Legit 1428. The two of them performing very well in that brawl. However, when you look at what #RU was able to accomplish, you have T69, Game is Rigged with 1482. Not bad. Young Money with 1344, and Valera Desolator also breaking 1,000 damage in his 5100. Following that up, you do have respectable damage from Godzilla Mode and Master Putin. T1s weren't really able to do much. They were kind of safety nets,
yes,
so they weren't really doing any damage. But the only tanks left for RBIS were Legit, Unnominable, and Aquavolt. If #RU had just pushed earlier, this would have been over, and they would actually have won.
If.
If. It's a hypothetical,
That's
but
true. I know. We've talked about this many times in Season 4 and in previous seasons. There's that point of no return where how the shots load, how much damage you can do in a certain amount of time, no matter the plus or minus difference in the RNG, you have to have enough time to get the full sweep of kills. And those T1s, they're fast little buggers sometimes. You don't think they can get far away that fast, but they can. And we've seen T1s escape to create a draw scenario rather than a win for the opposite team. Well, I'm sure RBIS is thinking hard right now because they are at the disadvantage.
And looking at Aquaball, he does not look happy right now. He looks incredibly focused, very serious, and he's someone that I don't know to quite be like that all the time. He seems happy-go-lucky, kind of. Or at least maybe when he's not playing.
Well, we haven't seen them play live, and that's where we get to see the personalities unfold for all of these different team individuals. But also when victories and defeats happen, it can really test your character. Last battle of the series, potentially, unless we go to a tiebreaker. It will take place on steps, ladies and gentlemen. #RU is up 2-1 against RBIS. Rookkill, what do we have for tanks?
For tanks, we're looking at a T32, T69, 3 1390s, and 2 T1 Cunninghams for #RU. RBIS will be bringing a Pershing, T69, 3 1390s, and 2 T1 Cunninghams. I like that Pershing choice. Good mobility for the side of RBIS, but you have a little more health and a little more armor in Valera Desolator.
Spawning the red, it is #RU. They are up 2-1 against a team spawning to the north in the blue. That is RBIS, and this is it. This could be the last time we see RBIS this season, Rookkill. The stakes are high, the pressure is high for this team who is down 1 point, and the best they can do is take us to a draw. And if they do go to a draw, and they do not have the choice, if #RU has a choice and they become the defenders, there's still a possibility. They still could get the win, but the results, the trends are not in their favor. The statistics are not in their favor.
Yeah, #RU has a solid defensive position, and I'm not sure what RBIS is going to be able to do. They have mobility, but do they have the hit points and the armor to actually begin this assault? They're going to have to go right at their opponent, and they're going to have to get in close, and they're going to have to find someone out of position. And the positions currently held by #RU are incredibly safe. Game is rigged. Nice. Just defensive, hold down, little spot in his T69. Not a whole lot of escape for that, but getting into this position, I didn't even notice how he did it.
He's a climber.
Yeah.
That's how I got it.
#RU loves doing that stuff.
Well, look at this approach from RBIS. It's been a little while since we've seen a team from the north use the eastern side of the map and push all the way down in that valley, while the other team has not swung far north on the west. But because #RU can play defensive, they have no reason to. Oxmathis and Sella are now going to tag team it up to the very south, looking for possibly a T1 to destroy first. Yes, it will all shot fire, blind fire towards their position. So it looks like Toplum was able to proxy scout those tanks.
Very possibly, or it could just still be more blind fire. We've got Valera Desolator, just like you said, blind firing, and he's going to continue doing that the entire battle.
Oh! Shot fired towards Sella, just over the tank.
Another one, just past where Sella was. Okay. Interesting, good play by #RU, recognizing the positioning and being ever so slightly off here or there, but pretty good being close. Oh, nice
Return
shot.
blind fired from Sella towards Toplum.
I thought that was going to hit.
It was close. It was close, but another shot on the move from Sella does not hit. Another one. He's going to unload his clip, it looks like.
Why not? Oh, that one was just south of Toplum. He almost got the kill.
Precambrian. Still spotting towards the south, next to that flag cap. 7 minutes left for RBIS to push. They have to get the win if they take us to the tiebreaker.
I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. They've got 6 minutes. They're going to have to find some way of beginning the engagement, but maybe the east isn't the answer. Maybe going around to the north and then the west could be what they could do to try and break this one apart. And they are sending tanks back up. With that, we have, it looks like Sella leading the way in the 1390.
He's heading over towards the west of the map. leading the charge along with Alex Mathis and Legit. And if they can swing and hug the map and not disclose their location as long as possible, that will be an advantage to try to get the surprise on #RU.
Now remember what we were talking about Ruinberg with Victoria's Secret? The way they would set the tempo, force their opponent to look one way and then show the other?
Yes.
This is a lot of the same concept, where you're appearing in one part of the map and then taking your tanks around to one of the far corners, the north A line in this case, and then heading down maybe the 1-2 to begin an engagement there at an unexpected angle, perhaps where your opponent isn't watching. So #RU, are they? Godzilla Mode is watching to the east. He's the flex tank. Young Money and Master Putin, though. Oh, Master Putin is a little distracted. This could actually work.
Alex Mathis hanging in the bushes, waiting for a potential opening from #RU to land a shot, but Young Money, Cash Money, and Kazo closest in that trio in the Juliet 2-3 line. Could spot him. At least fire coming from that direction. Go for a couple shots.
Now, what RBIS must do here is not get spotted until they are right up on a 1390. They can't afford to begin this engagement at range. And with the position Kazo currently holds, they're going to see this. Kazo sees this, Sela taking one shell, and that is from Master Putin. Master Putin knowing, I guess, maybe having some kind of a sixth sense about the positions of RBIS, and he does make that connection. Now, legit, Alex Mathis and Sela have an interesting angle. They could fire back at Master Putin, but good cover coming from Valera Desolator. Master Putin gets tracked, burns his kit, and is able to escape into cover for now.
Really good heads-up play from #RU based on the potential approach coming from RBIS and what they scouted. They saw him on the eastern side. They knew they didn't fully push down. They figured, well, if they're not coming this way, they got to come from the west from the rocks because we're not in that position. A Noble in the T-32 could place himself in a good position here, or the Pershing, excuse me, could place himself in a good position here for a hold down position. But this consistent fire tank has got to make sure he lands his shots.
Young Money, Cash Money might be able to get a shot into Akiyama. Kazo somehow has stayed alive this whole time in his T1. Just not moving, holding position, and that's just what T1s are useful for. Anything else would have probably been spotted by this point, but not T1, not Kazo.
So here's the approach from RBIS. With the two tanks hanging in this position with the Noble and Akiyama, the rest of the lighter tanks will probably use the, yes, this is the commitment we're seeing, going down the no man's road. Sela leading the charge with Alex Mathis legit. Alex Mathis actually tracks himself.
Oh, come on, work on your driving there. He's not focusing on that. He has to worry about it.
A Noble takes down Kazo. There's one eyes and ears gone for #RU. Sela now pushing to the south. They have to push now. They have to attack now if they have a chance.
And they can back this up if they can get the T1s down and perhaps Valera with a little cap pressure, which could work pre-camp. Starts moving, Valera spots it, and he is going to go. That's going to be a bit of a distraction. Pre-cam tries to juke, but no, and I see extra shots hitting dirt as well, which could be some wasted 1390 shells, allowing for a small window for RBIS to close in on this 1390 and T32. Young Money, Cash Money is moving in, but he has no shells.
And he has more time to reload, and he's getting unloaded upon these three tanks. Alex Mathis fires for the miss, and Sela now moving up. Valera Desolator ready to unleash hell against these tanks from RBIS. He's going to absorb a number of shots here, and game is rigged, fires, and then Valera Desolator takes down Alex Mathis. Sela could be the next to fall, but the focus is going on legit. He is the lowest tank, and he doesn't go down yet. He falls to a Godzilla mode. Young Money, Cash Money cleans up Sela. Only two tanks left alive for RBIS to stay in the fight. #RU, 2 tanks away from moving on to the finals. Akiyama trying to cover a Noble. A Noble pushing up in the Pershing. Needs to land a couple hits. He gets hit himself for 296. Pushes up around the corner as #RU spreads a bit and goes to the potential flat cap. No, they're going for the surround.
Young Money moving straight in. 2 shells loaded in this 1390. And he will take one. Anomalable might have time to finish him. Yes, he will, but not before he's able to get one last shell.
And that's it. Akiyama falls. #RU is going to the finals.
Very impressive play there. Solid defense on the Southwest. This is why #RU is known as a team that does well on steps. On top of that, great play on Abbey.
Fantastic play on a lot of these maps. That first win on Mines was huge. That flag cap, again on Cliff, that flag cap pressure and then on steps, knowing that RBIS had to push towards them. Now, hashtag RU has gone the furthest of their entire career. They will at least secure $25,000. Wow. That is huge. They could win the entire season and take home $50,000.
Depends on how they're going to do in the finals. And don't forget that we have RBIS also able to kind of maybe go to their third, fourth. They could take third.
They could take third. They could take third. RBIS, we will see play again before the finals tonight, but hashtag RU will play the winner of Fnatic and Simp, which will be our next map. There we see the handshakes from hashtag RU and RBIS. We congratulate RBIS, ladies and gentlemen. Give a hand for RBIS. They made it this far for the first time in the Gold League, joining us from the Silver League. Almost a mirror, a reflection of hashtag RU as RBIS, because hashtag RU joined us in Season 3 and they made it to the top 8.
Yeah, very similar storylines at their beginnings.
Yeah, very impressive. Top Tier was a team that joined us as well, and they made it to the top 4, or at least the top 8, and they did very, very well. Unfortunately, they got knocked out in the playoffs, but that's a predominantly Canadian team as well, so I'm sure a lot of them were cheering on RBIS. So that does it for the first series.
Yes.
And we're going to throw it to Waffles in just a little bit. We'll have an interview with the team captain. Let's kind of break down a little bit more of what we saw, Rukel. I saw, again, perfect, near perfect textbook play of flag cap engagements from hashtag RU.
Yeah, starting first on Mines, where they recognized that their opponent was a little heavier and a better grouped up, better position, and they said, all right, what is the answer? You outmaneuver your opponent in this situation. They will win in the brawl. That is true. Now you have to figure out what the next thing is, go for the cap. And they drew their opponent out of position, which I think is just beautifully heads-up play. Knowing that how your opponent will react and forcing them to that. Not even forcing, just kind of enticing them into that position.
And then enticement is how you set those traps and how you dictate what happens on the battlefield. We have Waffles standing by almost. He's almost ready for the interview here. But looking at the victory that RBIS had on Himmelsdorf, that was close. That was really close. But the utilization of those AMX 5100s was fantastic. I look forward to what Waffles has to say with our captain as we look at some of the replays. Let's go ahead and kick on it over to Waffles for an interview. Waffles, take it away.
All right, guys, I'm here with Young Money, Cash Money. Hashtag RU just punched your ticket to the finals. Did everything go as planned in those matches?
Not everything, but we were kind of expecting that to be so. It was a hard game, I would say that. But no, we kind of controlled the entire game, and I think that the result is what we get for this control.
Yeah, obviously, you're one step closer to that $50,000. You guys seem to beat them with a lot of positional play. It wasn't so much a slugfest. It was a lot of cap back and forth and waiting for, it was a lot of reactionary play. Was that you guys' battle plan coming in?
We'll see. We'll not reveal all our secrets yet because it's finals. And, well, you know, you never know what to expect from hashtag RU. I would say that.
Do you guys have a preference for what team you face?
I would like to face a team which is stronger, foresee a beautiful game, and to get the show done. That would be nice, yeah. So, of course.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, and we'll be right back after this.